in the room that there is a gentleman in here by the name of Rodney Young. He does videos, weddings, he's done videoing at council for the last 10 years. He will be taking photos and will put those photos up on YouTube. Does anyone have a problem with that? So you don't mind the photos going on YouTube? Could I get a show of hands of those that might have a...
For what reason? Why would you put on YouTube?
Sorry, Bree?
For what reason? Why?
What, could you answer that?
Yes, sure. Hi, I'm Rod. We videoed last night's one. We're interested because there's like 100 people here, but there's what 22,000 people in the district. Through their smartphones can see the mural candidates and they're interested, and so it allows. So I won't video anyone in the audience. I'm only interested in those standing for public office. So if you're happy with that, that's fine.
Are the candidates happy to be videoed? Good evening, candidates, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Lois Gardner and I will be chairing this meeting tonight. There is a timekeeper and assistants. When speaking, there will be a 2-minute bell and then the final 1-minute bell to finish. You should stop speaking after this time. The order of speaking is that the community board would go first, so could I please have the community board candidates at the please. All at once. And I'm sure you can work it out for yourselves, that you just go in alphabetical order. So, Sharon Byrne-Carriage.
Can everybody hear me all right? Thought this might be an issue. Thank you. Better? Okay. Ready? Okay. Hello, welcome. Thanks for coming tonight. My name is Sharon Burling-Claridge and I moved from Blenheim in 2007 to come and live in Tirau. I brought obviously my family, they were quite young at the time. We liked the look of Tirau, we thought it was a really lovely country place. We thought later on our children could engage in other opportunities in other areas as they got older. Since moving here over the last 9 years, I've worked in numerous places here. I've been involved in the local primary school. My husband and I recently purchased a commercial property here on Hillcrest Street, and in the last year or so we've opened it back up as a retail store and a little bit of a workshop out the back. There are many reasons why I put my name forward this year, and I won't go into all of them, but one of them is really, I just want the opportunity to get involved a little bit more. I would love to help shape Tirau for the future, for not only the next couple of years, but the next 5, 10 and 15. I think it's a great little community. I think it has a bright future. We can already see the evidence of this. There are people who are waking up to what we already know, that this is a great little place. But it's not perfect. I'm glad that we're getting our footpaths repaired. I'm really stoked about that. I'm excited about the pedestrian crossings coming. They're really appreciated and needed. And personally, I'm relieved there's a toilet going to come to Hillcrest Street. I'm personally going to benefit from that. Thank you. These are all great, awesome things. The Tirau Community Board, I found them to be very proactive in the last 3 years. They're a great bunch of people. And, you know, I think they actually deserve some thanks for the last 3 years. I've never been so more aware than I have in the last 3 years. The small and the large things that they've undertaken. We can credit our brand new toilets to them tonight in this very hall. The bigger projects that I'm quite excited that they're engaged in is the Tirau Domain. I think it's going to be a great space. If you're a walker, a jogger, young family, older family, I think if we continue to engage the community down there, how can we not create a wonderful space? If I was going to bring anything to the table on the community board, if I got elected, I really would like to offer something for the younger kids of this town, particularly teenagers. I'm very fortunate to have one of my own, and I do find it a constant challenge to keep her engaged in anything. Both my children work in industry, but it would be really great to give them some fun factors in town. If I got elected, I really would like to see some things happen. I've had lots of suggestions thrown at me with her, and I'll throw a couple at you. What about a seasonal water slide for the bigger kids? What about a mini putt-putt? Maybe we can incorporate it down to the Tirau Village Green already. Maybe we could throw it down to the Domain. What about a social group, a movie night? In this very hall even, bring your beanbag or pop some popcorn, let's have some fun. But I can't do this without being elected, and I would really appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, Mr Chairman. My name's Clive Collingwood, and I've lived in the Tirau ward for approximately 24 years now. I've been on the community board for 5 years. I'm seeking re-election. The main reason I'm seeking re-election is I'd like to see the Domain finished, the walkway to the Domain, and I want to see the paths out the front here all tidied up. Those are my two main objectives for the next couple of years. Yes, we have been very active over the last 3 years as the community board, but to do that we have to work in with the council. And if we don't have the council support, we don't get a good community. But I do feel at times that we as a community board seem to be landing a lot of the council stuff to do. Looking after the hall, looking after things like this. Sometimes, we have to work with the council, but I think the council use us sometimes as a stopgate. Well, go back to the community board, but we have to go back to the council too. So we can only do what the council let us do. You've got to remember that. We can only do what the council let us do, and the council hold the purse strings. So we can come up with a lot of ideas, and we can throw it back at the council, but at the end of the day, it's what they let us do. So, but as I said, my main objective is to do the Domain, the walkway, and the paths, and that's all I've got to say. Thank you.
Hi folks, sorry about that. I've always wanted to do this. Testing, thank you. I've been on the community board for the last 3 years. I've really enjoyed the challenge. I've really enjoyed the involvement. I haven't enjoyed some aspects of it, which Clive has alluded to. I feel the Tirau area has got a lot of issues that we need to sort out. One of the biggest issues that we've faced, and I'll make no secret about it, is the lack of representation in the council from the Tirau ward for one reason or another, and I think that the Tirau Community Board and the Tirau people have suffered because of that. Craig Hobbs and the Mayor have talked to me privately and said, what's the issue with Tirau? Why are people annoyed? Is it fact or is it fiction? It's a perception, and I think that the new councillor and the TCB have got to help to eliminate what the issues are and really advocate for Tirau with the new council. It'll be really good to work with some new councillors and the new Mayor. We've had our ups and downs with, as Clive alludes to, with council, but going forward, you can't deny the passion that the community board has brought to the town. And as Clive says, there's a few things that we need to finish off. The Domain, the walkway, the traffic management plan is essential for Tirau going forward. What do we want as a community? Do we want to just be a traffic stop for coffee drinkers? Do we want a community? What do we want? So there's a community consultation that's still in progress, and we look forward to you people telling the community board what we want, and also telling your councillor what we want. I look forward to the challenges with the community board next year. I'd love to return to the community board. It's a place where I think that there's some good challenges and good work being done. The projects we need to finish, as Clive alluded to, is the walkway, the community consultation with what we want with Tirau, and our walkway. That's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Cassandra Robinson. My husband Brian and I have lived here for the last 20 years. We've raised our family here and I'm pretty proud to call Tirau home. I think it's a great place to be. With our children growing now, I felt that it was time to start giving something back to our community. And so 3 years ago I thought, I'll stand for the community board, and I got on. I not only got on, I was made chairperson, so here I was, a total newbie, thrown in the deep end. What a learning curve, but I have learned a bit. It has been a huge learning curve that I've learnt to write submissions. I'm still learning to chair meetings. I'm still learning to do public speaking. Public speaking is pretty hard for me. But while I'm pleased to say that I've learnt a lot, I'm probably more pleased to see that some of the things that we've started campaigning for and wanting are starting to show fruition. The new toilets, as Sharon said in the hall here, they were so badly needed, and oh my gosh, they're looking fantastic. So that was one of the things that we, as a community board, put forward in the last years. We've got lots of exciting projects coming up. As the guys were mentioning, we've got a walkway project coming. Tirau is so short on green space. We have such a small amount of green space for our community per population. Our local domain, which has been in existence for over 100 years, has not been used really for the last 25. It's been closed up because of traffic issues. We've not been able to get over the rail to get to it, so that's a huge issue in itself. So as a community board, we put forward through to the $6 million fund that was going a couple of years ago, asking for money to do that walkway. So the council have been hard at work. They've gained access over the rail, which nobody ever thought that we would have. That gives us the ability to go down there and start developing that area. So we've got a walkway going through, over the river and into the domain, and that domain needs developing. So we need lots of really good ideas for that so that we can have what everybody here would like to see for young, for older, for travelling people through. With the traffic management plan that's coming up, that's to help us cope as the first town on State Highway 1 in a few years. Really, really important thing that we need to be able to have people stop if they want to and get through if they want to, so that we're not looked at being bypassed at all. So our community board's been responsible in the last 3 years for getting these things onto the council radar. I'd really like to be involved in the future to get them to the next stage, to get the planning actually going. I think it'll be awesome for our town. So hopefully with your support I'll get on there and I'll be able to help that happen. But whoever gets on there, they need to hear from you guys what you want, what your dreams are. This is your community. We need to own it. And through the community board we can talk with the council and get things done. So thanks for coming, guys.
Noel Simpson.
Good evening, everybody. Let's get something straight. I hate public speaking. I'm not good at it. Anyway, I'm Noel Simpson, lived in Tirau for 18 years, coming up 19 years. Married, wife Katrina, 3 kids, all gone through schools all the way from Tapapa, St Mary's, John Paul College and Waireki in Rotorua. They've achieved, the older ones have achieved greatly. I was on the board at Tapapa School for a while. Been self-employed most of my life, both in New Zealand and Australia. Qualified electrician in both countries and A-grade mechanic. So I've got a good background that I feel I can help the young kids of today. Going along with that, we've got a 13-year-old son who I'm a bit sad about because he's at the St Mary's Wearable Art tonight and I couldn't be there. Sorry, it's upset me, but anyway, I served my time in Cambridge, Stephen Myers electrician, and we had second-hand shop in Batauri, the corner shop, for 10 years. And all these things have put our kids through school. Now, Tirau needs something for the old and something for the young. Mix them together and I think it'll work well. The park, the domain everyone's talking about, we have a good following here of BMX bikers. My son's heavy into BMX, and they feel if they're going to put a BMX track in, they want to be part of it. They don't want to be told by adults, you know, how to do it. So, clubs, that's another thing I think would work in town here. We've got a lot of vintage, classic and old sort of vehicles could form a club. Always brings a lot of people into town. The other thing is recently one of the local ministers from the Tirau was out at our cemetery, and he was a little bit upset there's no paths there. He was concerned wheelchair access was not good. People with walking frames, put them in the ground, could just dig in, tip them over, and I think for very little money that could be addressed and help the wider community that wanted to go out there. Plus you almost passed it before you can see a sign where it is. What would also work, I think, as a club would be a model and craft venue. You know, models being anything that says models, craft being dolls' houses, train sets, whatever, to bring different ages of people together. And teaching young kids how to sew on a button, how to cook a meal, how to survive, which I think is sadly lacking in the modern youth. So anyway, if I get elected, I think I can put a lot into Tirau that will hopefully help everybody. Thank you.
Is not here, but her son is going to read what she's got to say.
Good evening. My name is Tim Cooper. I'm representing my mother, Yoko Strukens, here tonight. My mum and dad are in Tokoroa, where my little sister has just graduated from the New Zealand Police College. I personally am part of the Cooper family, represented on the wall or up here in the hall. My great-great-grandfather, Malcolm Cooper, happened to buy the land by ballot in 1907 on the then Mayoral Road, now Webster Road, where we live. I'll now read my mother's presentation. Good evening. Please vote for me. I do want to represent you on the community board. And why should I vote for you, you might ask? Well, I believe I'm a good candidate because I can translate my personal, professional and business experience as a physiotherapist into community representation. It's all about communication, and it starts with the most important aspect, listening. What is the problem, issue, want, or need? There are things I personally feel need addressing, like the domain and library link, but I want to represent you, and you will decide towards which issues I will put my energy. Once that is established, I will endeavour to do whatever I can with your help, the community board and council, to make things happen in a professional, systematic and transparent way. For I have the time, energy and drive to do this. Since arriving in New Zealand in 1989, I have seen Tirau in various stages of development. Initially while visiting family and since 2003 as a resident. I've grown very fond of this place I call home and I want to see it thrive. But first and foremost, I want residents looked after, young and old and in between, town and rural. That is the challenge I'm willing to take on with your votes. For those of you who would like to talk to me personally, please ask Tim for my phone numbers or come and visit me. Thank you.
We've all heard the 5-6 community board people speak. Is there any questions from the floor for anyone on the community board?
Yeah, you've all spoken about your family and where you come from, what you do, but you haven't spoken about where you're going to get the money from to do what you're going to do. That's the most important thing that I know here.
I'll try and answer that part of it. When I talked about a club, don't need money to form a club. because there's a good groundswell here of old cars, tractors, motorbikes, vintage, classic cars. As for my other thing of club, like model and craft, trains, cars, boats, planes, trains, whatever, and dolls' houses, they're big. Now the older people, excuse me for calling them older people, are very skilled with their hands. They can make the small furniture that I can hardly see, but they've got the skills to do this. So again, not a lot of money involved with that. Probably wouldn't even talk to the council about it. I can probably supply most of that stuff myself.
Having been involved with the community board, there's a lot of planning takes place, a lot of submissions go through. Generally, the biggest one is the annual planning submission and the long-term submission. We have had good success in the last couple of years with our submissions. The toilets, we pointed out that they were lacking, and they went through council, and it was voted that money would be made available to do those. We've made submissions about the accessibility of the hall that's going to be addressed. We've applied for funding for the walkway. So generally the funding comes through council. The council has that coming in through our rates, and obviously we don't want our rates up huge, so they have to be very realistic in what they're giving. But as a community board, we've been pretty diverse in the things that have been asked for, and we've been pretty lucky that the councillors have thought that they've been important enough to come through. There are lots of things we need in our town, and the council needs people to tell them what we want, because they can't mind read. So from listening to you guys, that's where we get our ideas for our submissions, and the people in the council have to approve of them before the money comes through. Not sure if anybody else has got some further info on that one.
You're right, the community board doesn't have any funds. So what the community board does is listen to what the community want, and via submissions, and as Cassandra said, approaching the council with the annual plan, with the long-term plan, we make submissions on your behalf to try and get funding. So for the walkway, for instance, that was a grant that came from the SWIFT fund. The TCB puts forward a plan, and we were lucky enough to get some finances, which is through the use of a contracts manager. We're now going to try and get that walkway completed. But you're right, we don't have any funds. Some people say we don't have any teeth, but I think the best thing is that you guys come here and tell us what you want. So I think that's all the power we actually need. And funds, it's council money, it's your ratepayers' money. Any other questions?
When you get all these people down at the domain, are you going to have a toilet down there?
We sincerely hope so. The thing is, we've got funding for the walkway, which is the old dump site.
Yes.
The domain hasn't been used for some time because of the access issues. So what we're trying to do as a community board and is to say to the council, well, hang on a second, we've got the walkway, but it doesn't go anywhere. The domain is something that belongs to Tirau. When the gates open up, what have we got there? So we envisage that with the help of our local Lions Club, that we can open up the domain area, come to the people of Tirau, the BMX tracks, the dressage rings, all sorts of ideas, and try and incorporate them in that area. And with the help of Lions, the community board and the council, to set up that area and make it a complete area so that people can walk down the high street, across the railway line, through the old dump area, into the domain and back round. So we're really dependent on people's ideas from Tirau coming to us and saying, hey, we'd really like this in that area. And I think now that Lions have come on board and said that they'd be prepared to almost spearhead a lot of projects, I think with the community's help, we will find out who wants to be part of that area, and I think it will really take off. I think the council will be surprised just how well that area will be utilised. Did that answer your question?
Well, you know.
That's cool.
The reason I asked is when you did this village green up there and took the toilet out of there, I had 3 young grandchildren with me.
Yeah.
and they wanted to go to the toilet. What do I have to do? I've got to pick 3 of them up and carry them across the pedestrian crossing and up to the dock.
Yeah, indeed. I mean,
Yeah.
toilets are always an issue in town, and we've
If
had...
you're down at the domain, you don't want to be doing that.
No, well, I mean, we would love to use the old pavilion in the domain, but of course that's subject to the council requirements and whatever. But we really think we'd like to open up that pavilion area for public toilets. And really, if you're going to have people walking around there, you're going to need public toilets.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.